Hey family, it's Tasha MAMABEAR Prepping. So I'm doing these videos back to back, wearing the same stuff I was on yesterday's video. If you caught that video, thank you for coming back. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're just going to talk about something that's kind of an opinion of mine, and I'm going to kind of walk you through my experience. And I kind of want to put a disclaimer before I even discuss this. So I'm about to discuss homeschooling, how important it is, I think, that we take our children out of school. But I do want to put the disclaimer out there right now that, listen, I do absolutely understand that this is not a doable thing for every family. I know that there's working families. I know that there's everybody in the home working, right? And the money is not there, or the time is not there to physically be at home while you have young children going to school. I understand that 100%. And I am blessed because these days I'm retired and I am able to finally stay at home with my child and have the ability to do this, to do homeschooling. So I understand this, okay? If you are a working mother, father, dual mother, father, all that, and it just absolutely cannot be worked out. But I just want to discuss it. I just want to talk about the importance of it. You know, this is outside of opinions about school systems and the things that they are teaching our children these days. Part of it is that, to me, a little bit of it is, yes, the agenda of what is being talked about, opinions of teachers, this whole woke, let's learn these pronouns, different things that are being taught and put into our children's heads without them even knowing, and a lot of times without us even knowing. You know, children are so impressionable, right? And our children are savvy, and they're picking up stuff wherever they can get it. Baby, you can be that mom or that dad that says, hey, you can't TikTok, you can't YouTube, you can't do this stuff because you're learning all this bad habits or bad things, or you just don't want them on social media like that. But I promise you, they're going to school and they're seeing that stuff still, because you have children there that have cell phones, that have tablets, that are their friends, that are showing them stuff. And so they're seeing stuff whether you want them to or not, okay? And a lot of that is, you know, you can't be super concerned about everything that your child might be getting exposed to, right? Because that's life, right? That's life experiences, those things that children are exposed to as they grow up and become young adults, right? We all did this, right? We all made bad decisions. We all did things as we grew up in society and friends and saw things and learned things, and we're figuring out what type of person we want to be. But you can control that to a point, okay? And so my first concern is the school system and the things that they're teaching, and getting away from real teaching and teaching the basics, right? History, right? I want my children to understand and know things that happened, and not say, well, because slavery was bad, we're not going to talk about it, or we're not going to talk about this person that did a bad thing possibly in history because they don't deserve it. Well, it's more than that, okay? It's understanding and seeing the big picture and understanding the things that happened in our past, right? That's what makes us who we are, okay? Second thing is, to me, what I've learned now with homeschooling is that a work day of school, a school day is a lot of wasteful time. You know, there's a lot of recess, there's a lot of sitting around and waiting, there's a lot of, you know, restroom breaks, then there's lunch, then there's snacks, then there's maybe reading time. There's just all this extra fluff in the school day and not a lot of real hardcore learning. The first thing I learned was my child was getting done with assignments and done every day by lunch. Every day, all the subjects done. And he's not in here like, I'm whipping the whip on him or whatever. He's just going through his lessons and doing his school, doing his projects, doing his reading, doing his things. And you as a parent can add on to that if you want to. But without all the fluff, it's not a whole day event, which then gives your child back that time. That gives you back the family time. It gives you back time, right? And so homeschooling for me has been a blessing, and it's kind of that diamond that I didn't even realize was there. That amazing thing that I always heard of, and I always thought, wow, that might be cool. And then parts of me was like, no, this is horrible. When COVID popped off and everybody had to bring their kids home and be teachers, I freaked. It was hard. I was like, I can't. First of all, I learned how to do math and different things totally different. So my child, is bringing home stuff that I don't even understand, right? I'm reading materials, trying to reteach myself the way they're being taught so I can help my child. And it was just a hot mess, right? And a lot of people, I think, experienced that. But in that there was a small blessing where I think people also realized that, oh, maybe I could do this. If I had a little bit more control on how this works, maybe I could do this, right? It was nice having the kids at home. It was nice, they had a question, you're right there to help them, right? And so I think that for a lot of people realize that might work better, or people realize, hey, I can work from home now. I can be at home mom, homeschooling, and make money from home and work. And so the good thing about COVID was that a lot of companies started opening their eyes and broadening the fact of being able to let parents be at home was okay. When we first did the homeschooling, we did the scramble like everybody did with the public system of just trying to work at home, which was horrible. It was horrible, okay? I don't think any kid learned that year that was in public schools, that where they just sent them all home like that. It was a horrible program. It wasn't set up. They weren't ready for it. The next year I took them out, was going to retire. We took them out and we put them in Connections Academy. Now, Connections Academy was a public school system, right? It was a homeschooling. Now, it wasn't like, hey, you sign up at your school and it's a hybrid program that's just at home. No, it's an actual program that's the whole thing is distance learning. And then depending on where you live, you would be assigned to different districts, and only certain districts in your area may or may not have it, right? So Connections Academy. And I loved it in the sense of 100% at home, super helpful, lots of interaction with the school, tons of interaction back and forth. Emails between you and teachers and advisors and counselors, and then same thing for your child. And then of course you could go in, you could see, I had a forum that I could go into, and my child had a forum he could go into. And again, was getting done with school, 12, 1 o'clock, lots of projects, lots of just, had to scanning back and forth, doing different things, but I enjoyed it. It was a step in the right direction as far as homeschooling. However, for us, we knew that we wanted to totally detach ourselves from the public school system, because even though that was a completely homeschooled situation, the only thing I had to do in the spring was I did have to take them to a local hotel, to a conference room. They set that all up, and all the local children that are in that system, in this program, showed up there and did their state testing. So you're under the public school system, so still had to do state testing, which he did, and he flew through it. He was so fast. He was done, one of the first ones done. I said, did you just blow that off? Did you just want to get done so you could just be home and be done or whatever? He was like, no, Mom, it was easy. I was like, no, it wasn't. You tell me some examples for math, for example. And he literally was like, 8 times 8, just basic stuff. So to me, what I'm saying is it was well below what he was already learning in school, which was crazy. Then the next year, which is this year, we looked into other programs, other homeschooling private institutes that obviously are more like a private school and cost money. We ended up going with Acellus. Now, Acellus has a program where you have a scholarship, and it's an easy process. It's really like you watch some videos of the person the founder of the program. You do a bunch of extra work, and if your child enrolls in that program and does that extra work, you can get it at a much, much lower price. But we just stuck with it and are paying the regular price, which is about $250 a month. But to me, well worth it. I mean, well worth it. Again, even easier than the public school system. Less, so counselors are there, teachers are there, but just so much more streamlined, right? Like they'll just pop in and see how your child's doing. They can see everything. They'll go back through stuff. If your child didn't do well on something, they'll circle back around with real people and also more lessons. Like they want you to win. And they want to ensure that the child has really learned what it is they needed to learn, right? And so it's working out even more, okay? And he's understanding stuff even more, where even though we were in the homeschooling for the public system, I don't know what it was, but the way it was set up, I was getting more questions from him on, hey, what's this, what to do, this, and this time it's, even though it's a new program, it's different. It's much easier. So I say this because if you can work it out at all to take your children out of the public school system, I think that it will benefit you and your family, and most importantly, our children. We have got to get back to truly being invested in our children's education. And I know, and I know those of you that can't do this, I'm not trying to dog on you at all, because I was a single mother for many years in the military with a child that I was not engaged with at all. First of all, I left him all the time. Every few years, I left him, you guys, and left, right? And then when I was there, I wasn't engaged. I wasn't into his school. I wasn't into stuff. I was just tired trying to recuperate before I had to leave him again. Horrible life, okay? So I understand a working family and the working dynamic and trying to make that work. But if you can make it work, a lot of people, I've noticed even around me, want to do this. So maybe it's talk to your friends, talk to your church, talk to, and look online, find groups. There might be other moms that are at home like me that have programs that are willing to have some kids dropped off and they do school together. Maybe it's a daycare situation where yes, you pay for the daycare, they go there, but the daycare person knows, hey, they're going to be in school. They just need a quiet space to go to school, and that you're just there, right? Just maybe it's a family member that is not working, right? And again, or maybe it's, if you can afford it, somebody comes in and sits with your child, or maybe there's multiple children and there's some older children that can watch and be there with the younger children, right? Look at your churches. There's a lot of, other little dynamic places that, have systems set up, that have homeschooling stuff set up. We have neighbors who their children go to a homeschooling in a church environment, in a little church group that has it. There's like 12 children, right? So what I'm saying is this won't be easy if you're a working parent, okay? But really think hard about this. The other aspect I like of having him home is knowing that the world is crazy. There is things right now happening that I'm concerned with. I'm concerned with the fact of having to pick up a child from schools. I saw a comment from somebody from my video the other day, and she was concerned. She's like, 30 minutes, I'm picking up children from everywhere. First of all, the 30 minutes was just for fallout. You're not going to have any kind of notice possibly for actual bomb, actual missile. Maybe a couple minutes you might have, hey, incoming. And you're having to get those children. So I like the sense of having my child is here most of the time with me. And if I'm gone alone, right? Or we're out together, but we're together, right? I like that peace of mind of knowing the crazy things that are happening in the world, that I'm keeping mine close to me. And some people would say, well, he's not going to get his social development. He's not going to be, yes, he does, right? There's neighborhood kids. We have friends who have kids. He's still getting that, okay? He has online friends. He has gaming friends. There's all of these things. So I guess my point is, with that negativity and people having a negative of this and that, push through that, okay? Because it is well worth it, okay? That the dynamic that we have now as a family, so much closer, okay? So much closer, because we're so more in tune to each other, because we're at home. right? We have retired, your parents are retired, child at home going to school. Our unit is so much closer and tighter, okay? And to me, we're safer because I don't have to go and worry about another entity also taking care of my child and what happens with that, right? I don't have to worry about mandates. Like, that's really where this started too, is when we were retiring into this craziness with the jabbed and unjabbed crisis with schools, right? And I saw the writing on the wall and I was like, I'm not trying to even begin to be in this world right now, right? And so we made the decision, and it's the best decision that we ever made, right? And so I understand. And the thing is, too, is if you can't do it now, think about when you could do it, what that looks like, and move towards that direction. It's just like being self-sufficient. You're not just self-sufficient overnight. We're building that up day by day, little by little, right? And it's the same thing. Hey, my long goal is to have my children out and be homeschooled. What does that look like? What's the timeline? When could I do that? Can I make different moves to make that work, right? Whether I'm paying somebody to come in and watch them while they go to school, whether it's other neighborhood kids, or whether it's me switching to try to work from home. What does it look like? Okay. Maybe you've always wanted to be be a stay-at-home mom, and the money you're paying every month for daycare for you to work is just not even worth it, and it makes sense to just stay home and do homeschooling and be that, right? And maybe get a little side job where you can go to do a job part-time, or for that extra income. But I get it. You know, inflation's going on right now. It's super high. Everything's expensive. It's just another thing, right? Really, this video is just a thought-provoking video. It's just to discuss what we've done. I've had a few questions of people hitting me up on emails about, hey, what do we do? What are we doing? How do we like homeschooling? How do we go about finding a program? That type of thing. And there's a ton of stuff out there. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but there's an increase of commercials with different programs playing on the TV now. And I think that's because these places know that there is families looking for this information now, more now than ever. And so do that. You know, I feel good knowing that all this RSV and all this stuff is going on, but my child is predominantly home. So the chances of him getting a virus, catching something, is much lower than if I was sending him to a daycare or a public school system or whatever the case may be. So there's a lot of reasons why we do this. And so far, it is a blessing beyond words. So I hope you guys are well. I will see you guys tomorrow in the next video, which will be a premiere video. And I think we're going to be talking about MIRA safety. Okay, I'm going to walk you through some CBR stuff tomorrow. Okay, all right, take care. Bye.